Hey, what's up guys, Jonah with DIY, and last week we talked about the top 5 things that I don't like about the car, but this week we're going to be talking about the top 5 things that I do like about it and why I think you should buy one. If you're new to the channel, this is my 2006 Nissan 350Z. I've had it for about 4 years and bought it at 93,000 miles, and I've driven it to about 120 now, so I've really gotten the time to know the car and drive it and really understand the things that I don't like and also do like. So without further ado, I'm going to let you guys know what those things are, and let's just jump into it. Alright guys, to jump into the first thing that I love about the car, the first one's definitely going to be the styling. Now, I honestly don't think many cars in this price segment look nearly as good as this car. This is one of the things where it's kind of subjective. Some people like the look of these things, some people don't, but I think overall, just with the styling, the taillight design is super unique, and the door handles are unique, interior bits are also unique, so there's just a lot of cool small things that the Z does that a lot of other cars don't do, especially when you mod them. Obviously, mine is heavily modified, but you can get one stock and you can do some very, very light lip kits and, you know, small changes up to the body, and you can still make them look super, super good. All right, for my second thing that I love about the Z, it's going to be the aftermarket support for this car. Now, compared to your BRZs and a couple other cars, they do come close, but almost nothing comes to the aftermarket support of a Z. For this car, you basically have pretty much every wheel option on the market out there. 5x1 14.3 is the build pattern for the Z, and you can find pretty much any wheel made in this build pattern, which is pretty awesome, and it makes it very easy to find a wheel that suits your needs and style. And it doesn't stop there. You have tons and tons of body kit options to go from through KBD, a ton of JDM manufacturers that import things from Japan. You have Vertex, you have Garage Mac, you have all kinds of really, really neat and specific kits for this car that are very unique looking, and this gives you the ability to find a kit that really suits your needs and really suits the style that you want to go for on your Z build. I've had my car for over 4 years now, and I've replaced a lot of the body parts on it, from the front bumper to the rear bumper. I added on side skirts to the stock ones. I changed up my lip and my spoiler. I haven't done my hood yet, but that's definitely coming sometime down the road. And the best part is that there's so many options for each individual part of your Z, so you can really just choose and modify it the way that you want when you want. All right, so for the third thing I love about the Z is going to be the interior. Now, aside from the interior quality, like I mentioned in the 5 things that I hate about the car, a lot of the plastics on the inside can scratch easily, so you're gonna have to replace those at some point down the road when you own one. However, everything else though, when it comes to simplicity and layout and just overall functionality, I don't think there's a much better interior out there. Some people will complain about this and say that there's not enough interior amenities or features or anything like that, but for a sports car like this, I actually really like how simple and just well kept it is, and how easy it is to navigate through everything and just use. I really like how the gauges are laid out in front of the steering wheel. You just have 3 individual gauges. You get a tachometer in the middle of the gauge cluster, which is really awesome. And then you have those top 3 gauges that are kind of aimed towards the driver in the middle in front of the center control stack. The Z gives you pretty much everything you need to have a functioning interior that's simple, and it doesn't overdo anything with too many buttons, which is something I really appreciate on a sports car. One more thing to note about the interior is going to be the sizing of everything. I just feel like it's a nice interior. For some people, especially if you're taller or bigger, it can feel a little more cramped in the car, but for me and my size, I think it feels great. It's not too big, it's not too small, and I think you have enough room to daily drive it if you need to, while it's still being small enough to have a nice, like, closed-in space that you can feel comfortable in taking around corners and just taking in smaller areas. For the fourth thing that I love about the Z, it's going to be the handling of the car. Now, for my Z, I've definitely lowered it and added some control arms and replaced a couple of things and bushings on this thing, so it will handle a little better than stock, but even then, still, these things are really capable stock. Another thing that helps that is going to be their tire size that they have. They have such long and big wheel wells that you can fit some pretty meaty setups in here and really maximize the grip and the ability to handle well around corners in. And another thing to note too is that I have a seat installed, the Recaro Pole Position ABE, and the seat will change the game completely, I swear. That's probably the most important mod that I've made to my car thus far, and it's definitely made the biggest difference as far as handling goes. Although it doesn't change anything about the actual performance and handling of the Z, it just makes it feel like it's more planted and it is less body roll since you're not moving around as much. So one of the downsides is going to be the seats whenever you take these around corners with the stock seat. However, if you do change that out, you can really understand and see how good the handling is on these things. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is going to be the price. Now, there's really not that many budget options out there for a budget sports car, and this is kind of the entry level of it, which, can be a good and also a bad thing. But overall, though, I think these things have a lot to offer at the price point they're at. They have gone up a lot since I bought mine in 2019, but I think you can still find them for pretty cheap. For a good example of one used, I'd probably say you're looking around 10K starting for, a DE and probably 12 to 13, maybe even 14K for a nicely kept HR. So just depending on your budget, I know things have gone up, especially in the car market now, but even then, it's still a pretty good value for what you get out of a car. I bought mine in 2019 for $5,900. It had a couple quirks that I knew I was gonna have to, address down the road. But I mean, overall, I got a really good deal on mine. So if you price hunt and you really try and find that deal, you can find these things for cheap. And, you can get a lot of car for just a lower price than most of the cars in the sports car segment. A common competitor to this car is the Honda S2000, because there's really not that many other competitors in the early 2000s two-door manual sports cars. And those things are, over $20,000 now for a really nice one. So the first gen BRZ goes for around, $14,000 now, give or take, just depending on how nice of a condition you want one in. So, there's a lot of competitors out there that are usually aiming a little higher in price. So when you look at the value of these things compared to, the other cars in the market, it's actually a pretty good one. That's why I chose the Z in the first place, because that gave me more room to mod my car right when they were getting it. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap this video on the top 5 reasons why I think you should buy a 350Z. And these are the top 5 things that I, found value in whenever I was looking to buy one myself. I love sharing with you guys what I do to this car and, some tips and things that I think are useful for this platform. I did also just pick up a daily, so you guys can expect a video on my first impressions and review of that thing coming soon. So again, just let me know what you want to see down below, and then I'll be seeing you guys in the next one with my next video on the daily. See ya.